It's Friday, November 24th, 2023. With our usual shill segment, in which I direct you to patreon.com/Ozone Nightmare. You can donate through Patreon using that address. You can go to the show homepage, and you will see on your right an array of rounded squares, which have several different pictographs within them. One is a PayPal logo that will take you to the PayPal donation link, which amazingly still works, since I have not updated it in over a decade, I'm sure. You will see an image that looks like a short little book with a bookmark that will take you to Lando's Amazon author page. You will see an image of a skull that will take you to my Linktree listing. And at the very bottom is our YouTube channel, where there are a couple of videos worth watching. The rest are basically just the audio version with a static image in the background. And, I did want to mention, okay, now I want to make sure I get the address right, because I always reverse it when I try to do it from memory. I have added a couple of new shirts to my Threadless store that people might actually want to buy. That address is ozoneartfoundry.threadless.com, and you will see that the two newest images...
Yeah. The other thing you should say is what keywords will bring it up immediately in Google.
Ozone Art Foundry Threadless.
There you go. See? There's that too.
But not everybody uses Google. So
no, I know that, but I'm just saying, giving people that option as well.
Well, in general, anytime you hear an address, those words will generally find it in Google. So yeah, either way, it will work. But I have two owl-based Doctor Who shirts that are up there,
which are very good,
which came out far better than I expected.
I was so surprised. I was so like they came out so fun and cute. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And I did a Doctor Who logo that's on the back if you get the one with the front and back.
I did love the Doctor Hoots thing. Those are really good.
Yeah, I was going to originally do the 80s one, but that's just words, so it doesn't really work as well. So I went with the kind of the 70s, 80s one. Because the 80s one, the Fifth Doctor started out with the old logo and then transitioned to the new one, which I far like better as a font, but it doesn't work as well as an image because it's literally just a very 80s looking word mark and there's nothing to it. So those shirts are there, and there is a sale going on, I believe, right now. It's the other reason I wanted to mention it is because the sale runs for a little while. I don't remember exactly how long, but I think it just started. So if you want, you would be able to, it's $15 for shirts. Well, free shipping is over $100. I don't expect you to spend $100 on my shirts, but you can get the tees for $15, which is a good chunk off. They're usually about $23. So unfortunately I can't alter that. I pushed it as far down as possible. But since they print them per order, their prices tend to be a little bit higher. And if you're international, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. I really wish I had a better answer for you, but I still haven't gotten a good international alternative. So, if you like them that much, you can pay a lot to ship them overseas, but I wouldn't. I mean, they're nice. I'm just saying, no design is worth paying more than the shirt to ship.
Yeah, but it depends on how badly you want it.
I'm not preventing it. Let's put it this way. I didn't put a block on non-U.S. orders. You can absolutely do it. But, I'm just saying. And I will say, too, and I don't generally do self-promotion very much. I think anybody who's listened for a while knows that. But I will say that I ordered magnets of the Dead Media hands, and at the large size, they look pretty good. I mean, they're nice looking magnets, I have to say. So, just another thing. I love magnets.
Just to toot my horn.
Yeah. I'll probably do a Dead Media mug, too, where I'll put all the hands on it, because it occurred to me that because I'm addicted to mugs, I would buy that, because of course I would.
I got a mug that has the, what do you call it? It has a map, a neurological and physiological map of the brain on it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know I needed that in my life, but Jesus Christ, do I love that. Like, I just sit there and stare at it.
I'll be honest, the thing that bugs me the most is that it's very hard to get custom mugs in anything other than basically white with some color.
Yes,
it's very hard to find a place that gives you black custom mugs, which I would really prefer, especially matte black, which is what I want.
Oh, yeah, that's
And what's
hard.
impossible to find, or at least
I don't
if
think
anybody
I've
knows,
ever seen like a mass market matte
not a
black.
mass market. You would have to order a minimum of 12. You can get them, but you have to order 12, so it tends to be expensive, and I don't need 12 black mugs of all the same thing. The other thing that nobody seems to offer, unless, again, you're ordering a huge amount, is black matte with a cork bottom, which is the ideal mug, but nobody has that. So
Yeah, that's
I've given
getting
up on that
specific.
dream. Yeah, well, they're really nice. I've held a couple, and they're, and it's usually a corporate thing where they have 100 of them. And, which is ironic because they're the most boring designs, but they're beautiful mugs with a cork bottom. They're fantastic. I mean,
Well, that's the thing. You're getting into the area where you have beautiful physical objects of utility, and then you've got beautiful design, and trying to get those two together.
Yeah. It's
not always easy.
No, in fact, you know what I'll do is I'll just link the Threadless store in the show notes. That'll make it really easy for people. That way you don't have to worry about it. But, not a lot of people don't don't see the show notes, so that's why I mentioned it too. But I will put a link right there about my updated. I'm typing it out right now. Okay, yeah. So that's it as far as the promo stuff.
It was funny too because you were saying you're bad at promoting yourself. I was just thinking just now that if you're bad at promoting yourself, I don't know what that makes me. I must be like just inert.
Well, I do it for you. That's why
I know.
Thing.
Well, that's the thing. I'm like, you always mention it, but I never add anything to it because I'm kind of like.
No, in fact, it's funny because if anybody who listened to the Adobe Max late night, at the very end, I remember to say, hey, you can go listen to our show notes. And the guest, Aunt Pruitt, said, I am proud of you for promoting your stuff because you never do. Even he knows how bad I am at it. And he said, good for you. He's about damn time. And I'm like, yeah, my priority is always promote the guest. I'm not ever worried about our stuff because I figure this is half stupid, I know, but I always figure if I find a podcast by any means and I like it, I will then subscribe to it. So it's one of those things where if you got there, me promoting it's not going to keep you there. If it wasn't good, you're gone.
Don't be hit over the head with it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
you're already there. Yeah.
I actually have looked at stuff like other shows to buy spots on that I think it will get, but they're really expensive. That's the problem, And it's
well, it's because the problem is, and this is a good problem, is that you never built this show with a money-making model, because that's not what you built it. No. And the thing is, like a lot of shows were built on a money-making model that have now long since gone. Whereas you're
incidentally.
Still here.
Yes, I agree. I never did. Two things. One, the Libsyn auto-corrected your first name to Orlandope, which is very funny. I fixed it.
Ooh, Orlandope. I often feel like Orlandope.
Yeah. You're right, though. It was never. This show was never engineered as a money-making exercise, which is probably good because that means I didn't count on anything. But the other thing is, I went back and I was looking at something, and I was just looking. Every so often I check to make sure the archives work, that the old shows are still loading, all that stuff, just in case. And I went back and listened to the first show where you're on it, and fuck you, your mic sounds so much better than mine. I sound so bad. And your mic sounded so your mic was so much better than mine.
Which is funny because I was always just using a gaming headset in the beginning.
Yeah, well, it was better than whatever I was using because I sound terrible.
My plan in the beginning was always too much caffeine and a gaming headset.
Oh, boy, that first show where I introed you was so bad. It's so bad. I'm so terrible. I mean, I listened to maybe 5 minutes and went, yeah, I can't listen to this anymore, and stopped. I mean, you sound fine. You were talking about all your degrees and stuff like that, but yeah, I stopped listening.
You know what? I stopped doing that. I don't present myself anymore.
Well, it was your first. It was the first show you were on, so I said.
Oh, I know. But I'm saying in general, I don't think they matter anymore. I think we live in a culture where having multiple degrees.
No, it's useless.
It's not a good opener. Because I think if anything, our culture is steering in a direction where like you're almost less trusted the more educated you are.
Well, okay.
In the right crowd.
I was going to say, I have a hunch that most of the people
Plus,
who listen to our show would not have that reaction.
It's weird to present your credentials at this point. Like, I kind of just show up and I'm like, I'm here, I'm good. It's like, if you don't know that there's something going on behind the eyes, then that's fine. I'm glad you can just treat me like a fool. Because like I had a parent-teacher conference the other day, just to get very domestic for a moment, and I was dealing with a table full of teachers. There's nothing wrong. This was just a normal parent-teacher conference. The school just happens to do it in this very strange way, where you feel like I feel like a parole hearing. Not that I've ever been at a parole. I've been at a parole hearing, but I've never been at a parole hearing for myself. I'm just digging myself deeper here. Anyway,
I'm not even going to interject. You're doing a great job here. Keep going.
I know, right? I'm like, I'm not saying that I've ever been arrested, but anyway. But either way, when I was there, we were talking about school-based stuff, and like, there was a part of me that was like, should I let them know that like my background is like kind of in this area, so they don't need to, like, give me the over explanation of things? Where like that means this, where it's like, no, I understand what all that means, guys. You're not dealing with an idiot. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let them treat me like an idiot. That's fine. Go ahead. Let's see what your explanation looks like when you think you're talking to somebody that doesn't know their head from their ass. And it was fascinating. It is fascinating to be treated like an idiot. Because people give themselves, there's a lot of interesting, it's fascinating the way people give themselves away, in the way they try to over explain things.
Well, there's a reason why one of the the standard approaches by police is just let the person talk, because they will eventually reveal themselves pretty quick.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. So was it my? I have a little gym now at home. I finally built myself a little gym, and I put art all over the place. But then I also put a lot of philosophy, like my own personal philosophy stuff, because I follow like Stoic philosophy, and me, I like Nietzsche and things like that. But I have very, very different interpretations for a lot of these people. I see different things. But I have the meditations of my God, I can't believe I forgot his name. I know the meditations, but I don't know his goddamn name. The Roman emperor. What the fuck was his name?
The Roman emperor.
Yeah, it's the meditations
Caligula?
of. No, my God, Jesus, what's wrong with you? The Caligula. Anyway, Marcus Aurelius.
What would those
Marcus
look
Aurelius, not Caligula. What would that look like? Yeah.
Meditations of Caligula.
The Meditations of Nero, right? Oddly, wait. What's funny though is it Nero or Caligula where Seneca was was one of the instructors of one of them, and was essentially put to death by one of them. I can't remember now. Anyway, so I had the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius as like kind of put as like a bullet point, because my whole idea is like I've read these things, I just want something on the wall that kind of reminds me of it, So, but one of them is basically this idea that bad people do bad things. Don't be surprised. And I've always loved that one, because it's like it's very sort of, it holds up really well. And it's this whole idea that we have these people who do bad things, and then we're like, no, he'll turn a leaf. No, he won't do that. No, of course not. And the Stoic approach is, no. Bad people do bad things. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. Act accordingly. Which goes back to my personal philosophy of, essentially, plan accordingly and you'll never be surprised. And part of that is that Stoic approach of, bad people do bad things. And here's the thing. It works at all walks of life. If you're in an office and there's someone in your office who's an asshole, right? don't expect them not to be an asshole. In fact, plan on them being an asshole, and everything works out better. Plan around the pitfalls in your life. Don't live in this unnecessary optimism of, no, they won't do that. Especially politically lately, man, I see a lot of people who are like, oh, I'll keep it apolitical. These people wouldn't do that. And I'm sitting there going, these people have already tried to do that, and they will try to do that again, because that's what these people are doing. So please live in reality and plan accordingly. I guess that's my I almost called it it's my mission statement for the night. What do they call those? The
public service announcement.
Yes, my PSA. There you go. That's my PSA for the night. Yeah, plan accordingly. Live in reality. Bad people do bad things. It's just the way it works.
That's true.
Yeah. This I guess our whole show philosophy really is just digging ourselves a deeper hole, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it has been at times. Yeah.
I want to talk about thievery tonight because most of you don't understand how amazing my co-host is. He is.
I know what we're talking
hold
about.
on. He is a thing to behold. Right? Now, most of the time, I know what he's going to get up to. Most of the time, I've got the road map pretty good. But every now and then, he takes it to a new level that makes me laugh my fucking ass off. And that's what I want to talk about tonight. Because the other night, Joe and I were playing our favorite game currently, Baldur's Gate 3. And Joe has gotten into a habit of trying to rob people, right? Expertly, to just get away with it. Just steal something and walk away. And the thing is that because you're not technically a thief, you're a hunter, your sleight of hand is high, but it's not like super high.
It's not as high as another individual in the game.
Yeah. So we were playing one night, and I told Joe about a suit of armor, which is like one of the most expensive items I have ever seen in the game. Like expensive, like many times more expensive than anything else I've seen in the game. And Joe really wanted to try and steal it. And he did a couple times while we were talking, and we kept resetting things to see if he could get it, which is funny. And he said to me, well, you know what? When you're not around, I'll probably sit down and I'll try and see if I can get this. So I had this scenario in my mind of what Joe would do, which is that at some point or another, he'd probably call his mom, chat with her for a bit, and in the background, he'd just be futzing around seeing if he could steal this stuff, which is minor in comparison to what this motherfucker got up to. Please explain what you figured out.
Well, as you said, we attempted this a few times, and I had told you that I would probably log on to the game and spend some time and see if I could figure out a way to do this theft that we were trying to do. And the important part about this is this particular individual, and I won't, just out of concern for spoilers, I won't name anything specific.
He's actually an ally.
Well, yes, he's an ally, but there were two particular targets that I had in mind. One was an ally.
Yeah. Both were vendors.
Yeah, both vendors.
Yeah.
One an ally, and the other one, I won't again give specifics, but the other one was in a highly difficult location because there was no place to hide. Now, the ally was easy enough to divert the attention of, but because of the ally's inherent makeup, they were more resilient and resistant to thievery than the other one, which had a lower barrier to theft, but a higher visibility ratio. So we were talking about two different problems, really. One person who was very attuned to not being stolen from, the other who really didn't pay any attention to anything, but had about 100 people around that were paying attention.
Yeah.
So two different problems that required the same type of solution.
Yeah.
And when I jumped back in the game, I was thinking for a while, and then it occurred to me that Asterion, as far as I'm aware, or what I had always read, is a very stealthy, thief-based class character.
He's a rogue, essentially.
Right. And we hadn't leveled him past level 4.
Yeah, we hadn't used him at all, really.
Correct. So I went over to him, and I grabbed him. I told Will, stay at home. I'll be back a little bit, darling, but I have some stuff to do. So I told him to stay at the camp. I took Asterion, went to Withers, told Withers, I want you to wipe him out. I'm going to rebuild him from the ground up. So Withers wiped him out. I pulled up a guide to how to build a perfect theft character.
Yeah, and we're all maxed out too. We're level 12
we're level
at this
12
point in the game,
right.
So we've got all the points to play with.
Yes, so I pulled up a guide to build up a perfect thief, as well as a guide to the best armor for the characters we were playing in the game. So I built Asterion from the ground up. I then hunted down the armor he needed to give him a boost to his already impressive stats, and I attempted the theft on the 2 different characters that I had in mind. Both thefts being pretty much... Yes.
Hold on. Let's skip ahead to the future so that I can give you an idea of what I showed up to before Joe explains exactly what he did.
Sure. Go ahead.
I jumped on, was it 2 nights later? I think it was, or was it 1 night later?
Next day.
I can't remember.
No, next
day.
Next night.
I jumped on and I opened my character. We were about to go do something. And I was like, holy shit. What is all this shit in my inventory? Not only did I have the super suit of armor, but there was all sorts of necklaces and jewels and magic necklaces and magic rings. Not to mention the fact the massive amount of gold that I didn't even notice till you pointed it out.
Until I said that. Yeah.
I mean, and at which point the phrase that Joe used was a tornado of thievery.
Yes.
Please.
Basically, once I realized how good Asterion was at his job, at least in this context, I didn't just stop with the armor, because then I figured, well, what is the fun in that? And I basically lost my mind for about an hour of just running to everyone that was a vendor and taking whatever I wanted, including, I didn't realize at first you could steal their money. It didn't even occur to me. And when I was at one of the vendors, I happened to notice something. I went, oh, there's gold sitting up there. 12,000 plus pieces of gold, which I learned is exceptionally heavy. So after I stole it, I had to very slowly slink out of the building. Nothing suspicious about a person walking out with giant bulging pockets that are jingling with gold.
A giant pale elf. Just hunched over. Like
yeah, because I that's what I did.
Don't mind me.
Because this is the thing: as soon as I would steal things, I would send them to myself, because I knew I was going to ditch Asterion for Will again, so I didn't want to forget anything on his person. So yes, at one point we went and Asterion. I was just a distractor, so I would talk to the people, and then he would basically crouch behind them and basically tear their pants off with everything in them and run away.
It does say something about this game's storytelling ability that we refer to these characters as separate people, like we weren't controlling them.
Oh yeah,
that they have defined personalities enough. Even actually, what's really weird is when you start to establish the personality to the character you're playing, as if it's not your character. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not just you. Because you and I have our characters have personalities. I was trying to explain this to my wife, because she was like, are you guys going to play this game right away after you finish? And I was like, no. I think we need some space, because if we go back in right away, there's a tendency to try to lean back towards the narrative of the characters you've already created. We have to put space between who these people were before we come back and try it again.
Well, I've already made, I didn't tell you this because we haven't spoken since I came across this. I had this idea occur to me. The next time we play, I am still going to create a custom character, but I will be playing as a sidekick to whoever I am maining. So I will be playing whatever character I pick, and I don't know who it will be. It might be Gale. I may play Gale.
As a sidekick to your...
No, as the main. Gale will be the main, and I will be his sidekick. And so my goal will be whoever I am picking, as I will be a stock character. I will be maining a stock character. And I will make all decisions based on what that stock character's personality is. And that may lead some weird places, but I'm going to go with that. And then I will try to be the Jiminy Cricket character to that person, saying, wait a minute, I don't know if this is the right idea. But I'm going to, I don't know how that's going to work, but I made that decision is I'm going to pick a established character to play, and then I will be the sidekick.
I'm contemplating playing as the ugliest bard. I want to make an orc, a hideous orc.
And you could do the same thing.
And then hold on. And then basically make them like a bard with a really high charisma. I want to break the
Sure,
game.
sure.
I want to walk into a room and be hideous and have all these people be like, "Hey, how you doing, sexy?" You know, like I really want to break the mechanic.
I don't think you can. I think this game, outside of certain things, there are certain things I think that you
No, because the
there's no way
charisma.
around.
No, the charisma will be really high, but when you visually look at me, you'll be like, "I wouldn't fuck that."
Oh, no. But I meant like if you blow
Yeah.
up the Lazel's town, you can't talk your way out of annihilating all our people. You know what I mean? You're not going to talk your way out of that. Or maybe you can.
I don't know.
Maybe you can.
I don't know. You know what? I'm kind of curious because I have read some interesting things about what bards can get up to. They seem to be the ultimate bullshit artists.
Well, if you could talk Shadowheart to sticking around after the decisions we made, then you will have accomplished something. You know.
Well, we'll still need a healer.
Test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I logged in and
Oh,
Joe had done
yes.
all this stuff, and I was just laughing because
And-
I knew
and-
he was going to do it. I just didn't realize he was going to take it to this absolute extreme. Where what did you say at one point the guards were like running around the city?
Yes, I'm sorry. I cut off my own story. So what happened was at one point, after I had robbed, I think, somebody that I actually like in the game, but I took everything she had. I mean, everything. She had nothing left, including money. I could not have sold her own stuff back to her because she had no money because I stole all that too. She had nothing. I emptied her out because she didn't have a large amount of inventory, and I figured, well, if I'm here, I'm just taking it all.
Yeah, okay. I won't spoil it. I won't say who it was, but
Yeah, it's somebody that we encountered a few times. And anyway, as we're walking out, I come down the stairs and we stop and I save. And 2 seconds later, I see what looked like 12 to 16 guards running up the stairs to where I was. And when I relayed this story later to Lando, I said, yes, we've got reports that there's been a tornado of thievery that has hit the city. And we can't figure out where where the ground zero of it is, but it seems to be moving, you know? And that was...
Oh, man. Yeah, and that's the thing is I love a game that can provide that level of comedy that's unintentional. That it's not game created. You know what I mean? Like,
oh no, and what was instructive about it is it reminds me why I don't go to casinos, because the way I was behaving about thieving has to be the same as somebody who's like, well, I can roll it one more time. I can win just
one
a
more
little
time.
more.
Just
because
one
I
more
was
time,
doing
just
that.
one
I was
more
in my
time,
head. I'm like, okay, I'm going to find somebody else. I'm just going to steal 2 more things, just 2 more things. And I'm like, no, I did it. Like, why not take 2 more? I'm here. I'll just take 2 more. And it really was, one of those things where I'm like, yeah, there's something in my brain that it's better that I don't drink and I don't gamble and I don't do drugs, because my brain would latch onto something and it would never get free of it. So it's the game reinforced, I think, what my already kind of intuitive idea of what my possible problems could be by giving me license to do something really terrible. And I just went crazy with it for a while.
I know. And it's funny is that we were so well equipped. So we went to deal with the vampire lord, and we were so well equipped. Now we were already pretty well equipped just from playing the game, but we were so well equipped after that.
Yeah.
That when we went to see the vampire lord, we had this big sequence with him where he's like, whoa, it's like, I'm the vampire lord and I've already beaten you because I'm so amazing and I live forever. And we killed him so easy, I thought that there was like a catch. Like, he went down so fast that I was kind of sitting there going, he's going to pop out now, right? He's going to pop out, he's going to be a big monster or this or that. And instead it was like, no, he's sleeping in his tomb and you just stab him and that's the end of it. And like, compared to fighting Raphael, that was like a big strategic fight where we really had to think about what we were doing. Killing this vampire lord was hilarious, especially when it's so funny. There's there's this weapon in the game called Nathaniel's Light that I was on the fence about us taking it just because, but then when we realized that the Gith Yankee were gonna kill us anyway, it was kind of like, well, fuck them in their temple, and we took it, which levels their temple. And it is like a mobile sun. So when this vampire lord tried to turn into like smoke and tell us to fuck off, as soon as I approached him with that thing, it was like a mobile sun. He just fell from the sky. And I just realized that between all the gear we'd collected and all the gear you'd stole, we were just so well equipped. So it's kind of amusing now to see where we go. Because I have a feeling that next time we play, we're probably just going to go treasure hunting. Because, you have a whole list now of all the shit that's best for everybody.
Yes.
Hell, we should just go treasure hunting for a while.
And some of it, sadly, were passed, but yes.
Yeah. What man? But what are we at? 75% at this point?
75%. Yeah.
75%. Yeah, it doesn't feel like it. I think we're like 135
135 or 39, something like that.
Yeah. So, but I love a game that makes allowances for you to make your own fun. I mean, that's one of the things I loved about playing the new Saints Row. I know it got bad reviews, but
and the studio got destroyed, so that's gone.
Yeah, I know. But we had so much fun just fucking around. So actually, question. So they destroyed the servers for that, right? They're gone?
No,
is the game still
playable? Oh no, it's still playable.
Okay.
Yeah, they can still play it.
So we can still network if we wanted to play that game, even though the studio's gone.
No, yes. No, they still have it's still support. The studio's just gone now. But no, you can still play it.
How does that work?
Well, because I believe with that, I think it's still up. Let's see. Saints Row. 2020. When did that come out? 2020?
I don't even know.
Let's see. Oh, no, it's 2022, apparently. Let's take a look. Here it is. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Because the site is still up. So I don't think they shuttered the game. I think they just... Because they released an update for Halloween. There was
just the
skins
developer.
that came out.
So basically, just the developer was taken.
Yeah, the developer's gone. Yeah, but I think it's still supported. Yeah, it's still being sold. So if it's still being sold, then they can't shut it down if they're still selling it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, they just patched it not that long ago. So
that is a great game.
Yeah.
I had a lot of
fun
and I will thoroughly enjoy finishing this game and then coming back at a later time.
Yeah.
I don't mind coming back. We need like a game in between.
Oh, definitely.
I just don't know what the hell we're gonna play after this because
I have a hunch I'd read about something that I thought would work, but I can't remember. So it's probably I don't know. I think it's supposed to be out this year, so I don't think it's that far off. But I don't remember.
So I'd probably just end up playing Sniper Elite. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I wanted that little adventure because I do love it when a game provides an avenue for you to be surprised. And the thing is, it's not even surprised by the game; it's surprised by the people that you play with.
Yeah,
and that for
I did.
me,
By the way, funny enough, not that this has a place in the show, but I noticed they added Alien Team Fire Team to the free PlayStation thing, so we could always go back to that for a while.
Aliens? You mean? Oh God.
Yeah.
Did they fix it? Is it not just monotonous as hell?
I assume we could try it. It'll be free to try it, so why not? Anyway,
I'll look around.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I just wanted to mention a slightly different note. I was telling Joe this recently. I just showed my kids Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring again for the first time. It's again for the first time because they saw it when they were younger and they totally forgot it. So we watched it. My daughter was a little bit bored by it, and my wife is not as impressed. But my son was like all in. And what's sad is that I've seen that movie, the first one, The Fellowship. I've seen that movie so many times, and I still get I think as I get older, I actually get more teary-eyed during some of the scenes in that movie. And I hate to admit it, I'm that thing where you're trying to kind of cover the fact that you're getting a bit misty-eyed. But
sure.
When Boromir is like, "Oh, Aragorn, my king," and I'm like, "Oh, Jesus Christ." And fucking, Samwise is gonna drown, and Frodo reaches in for him, and just all that. When Gandalf dies, and you're just sitting there, and you're like, man, why am I having an emotional response to scenes I have seen 100 times before? What the fuck is this? But I wonder if that's the power of a good movie. A good movie, I think you can watch many times, not all the time. It can't become totally familiar, but you can see it many times, and I think its emotional value can hold up. Because did you see that they're going to re-release Abyss into theaters for one day?
Yeah, because they're finally doing the 4Ks, including True Lies, which has been unavailable forever.
And I don't know where they're going to show it, but my wife and I were like, we should totally go see that. I saw that movie 3 times in theaters. I fucking adored that movie when it came out. I still adore that movie. But what I'm saying is when that thing came out, I loved it so much. And I love that the ads for it. They're like, well, before he did Avatar, he did this, Under the Sea.
It's crazy, isn't it?
I know, because I haven't even seen the new Avatar.
Oh, I'm not going to. I have no interest
really?
whatsoever. No.
You don't even want to see what they did?
No, I don't care. I didn't care about the first one. I don't care about this one. Oh, they all won? Great. Oh, they're all dead? Great. I don't care. I have so little attachment.
Did they not win? I don't even. Yeah.
Well, I mean, of course they won because that's what it is. But I'm just saying, I don't care.
I am curious to know what the fuck he's been working on for all this time. Because that's the kind of the sad thing about Avatar to me. I enjoy the first Avatar. I like Dances with Wolves. I like Aliens, right?
Okay.
It was enjoyable to me.
Sure.
But I didn't want James Cameron to then get completely sidetracked by it. Because I feel like there's so many other original concepts that he could have done. Instead, he did deep sea travel. He did deep sea travel, and then he did Avatar for like years. I mean, how long did it take for that sequel to come out?
I don't know, a long time.
Yeah, it's like, they want to do more of them, and I'm kind of sitting there going, no, James Cameron.
Yeah, he's talking about 4 or 5 of them, so that's where he is.
Yeah, and it's like, I want you to do other stuff. You're a great director. Can we do some other movies?
I think that's where his interest in. I think that much like George Lucas.
Yeah,
I think for him it's the tech. He wants that. He wants that perfect kind of immersion of effects. He wants to be the person who is remembered for being a Jurassic Park level person. I really think that's what it is. He wants the movie to come out and for the entire world to be shocked by the level of achievement in what he's done. He's very, very egotistical. I mean, that's not even a secret. He's a very, but here's the thing.
Person. I don't think you get leaps and bounds like that without some level of ego involved.
No, but I'm not saying that as a positive or negative. I'm saying that's why I don't think he has any. I think his tunnel vision is within achieving that within the Avatar.
Yeah, so you think the tunnel vision is what gives you Avatar 4, 5, and 6.
Correct.
The tunnel vision is also what gave you Terminator 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so. I mean, and to some degree, it's understandable because he's got that universe locked down. He created it. He's completely associated with it. It is his Star Wars. So the way that you do something like that is you have to have total control.
What? Yeah, it's funny. My brain never put that together. That's so funny that Avatar is his Star Wars.
It is.
Yeah. No, you're right. That makes total fucking sense. Yeah.
That's what everybody's chasing. Everybody's chasing that.
Everybody wants Star Wars. Everyone wants a trilogy.
Everybody wants their name to be associated with a series of movies the way that Star Wars is. Well, I'm not going to say, all right, not everybody, but there are many filmmakers who you can see want to make their version of Star Wars. Not saying science fiction, opera, whatever, but that want to have their names go down for a series of films. Whether it's Indiana Jones or it's Star Wars or Godfather, anything. That's what a lot of the people of that type are chasing.
Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings. Right? I mean, he didn't write them.
Absolutely, of course.
But he made them. And what's funny is that watching Fellowship, even though I know all the tricks he did, and I know all the funny things he did, like his tendency to have really close-ups on faces because it makes he doesn't have to do the surroundings that much, right?
Right.
Yeah. It's still so head and shoulders above the Rings of Power series. I mean, head and shoulders above it.
Yeah.
That it's, it's the whole, some movies are just done really well and they echo, and that is his trilogy. I mean, I'm trying to think, I was going to think, like, what are single movies that are iconic? But there's a lot of single movies that are iconic. It's,
no, you can't go by
trilogies. The trilogies are, the trilogies are hard. It's hard to hold that up. It's like the Batman trilogy, Nolan's Batman trilogy. I love the first two, but you know what? The third one's gotten really weak over time. And what's sad is that there's parts of the third one that I really like, but there's a lot of that movie that just drags on me.
Somebody did I know there was a fan edit that makes a lot of sense to me where I think they cut the first one in half and the last one in half and then leave the second one almost completely intact. And that makes a lot of sense to me.
I think the second one for me is one of the most perfect Batman movies. Like the way that
it's very hard to imagine what you cut out of it, and that's why when I read that this person left most of it. Well, not you're not. I mean, normally fan edits you're cutting things out, or you're adding cut scenes. But as far as I understand, there's nearly nothing is changed about it, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, like the first movie is good, and it brings you into this new version of Batman, and the second one is like Batman in his prime, and then the third one is Batman on the way out. But like, I just don't, because Nolan's version of Batman and I'm not completely. It's not my version. It's not my version of Batman. It's a very good version, but it's not my version. I don't necessarily like how he went out. I mean, it makes sense that Batman couldn't be Batman forever. It's just yeah. What's funny is it drags and then it gets almost too sentimental at the end.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I don't really have a problem with anything in the third one. It's perfectly fine.
I don't believe that someone like that could just retire and fuck off.
Oh, I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that because Mania cannot be sustained forever. It was one of two things was going to happen. He would either have gotten killed.
You would destroy him.
Yeah, he would destroy himself, or at some point he would realize that someone else has to do it. And it's one of those things where when you think about it, the true mania, it just depends which avenue the true mania takes. Yeah. If the mania is based around he himself having to achieve everything, then he has to kill himself doing it. If the mania is based around the mission is to defeat evil,
the mission, yes,
then someone else does it, and it's fine as long as someone's doing this. It doesn't have to be.
I'm gonna chew on that one for a bit and see how it fits.
Yeah,
I like the idea of it. I don't disagree with it.
But the reason I think the second one remains as the strongest one is because it is free of any of the detail work of what Batman is. The first one has to establish his origins, including all of his fumbles and screw ups and everything else. And so there's a drag to that. There always is. Origin stories have a inherent what's the word for it? Drag to them, inertia to them that you can't escape.
You have to build up the velocity. You have to start.
Yeah, especially when you know the character so well. This is the stupidity of it. We know Batman. We don't need to see this every time. Nolan did a good job of it, but honestly, we don't need it.
No. But what was the movie that came out recently where they just Spider-Man.
Oh, they skip right over it. Yeah, of course.
They skipped right over it because they're like, hey, we've done this a million times before.
And that's what the Batman did. The Batman didn't bother. The Batman was like, no, we know who Batman is. He's a year in. Let's just get to it, okay? And they just jump over all that. I don't know if they might mention his backstory here and there, and of course they show him with Alfred a couple times, but they don't show there's none of that stuff is in there. It's just right to it. So the second one is the strongest because it is, okay, this is Batman in his prime, and we are going to make his complete counterpart and a second counterpart. So they've basically they're showing the complete extreme of an anti-Batman. And, Nolan's got that thing about trying to keep things grounded. So they had to have a more, laid back version of the counterpart, which was the Harvey Dent one.
It's interesting because the more I think about it, because a lot of people put that theory about how the Joker is like an ex-soldier or something like that because of the way he reacts. And I like the idea that the Joker is a hero broken. And then the Harvey Dent is a hero divided. Because he's...
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Good and bad.
That's what makes it great is that Batman is fighting two extreme versions of himself.
Yeah.
And that's why it works so well. There is no real tethering. And then the third one, of course, has to get into, well, this can't go on forever.
No.
Which is sort of a...
I've always liked the idea that Batman's bullshit doesn't work on Bane because Bane has it worse. Bane is as much what Batman is, but it's taken to a darker extreme.
Yes.
So it's like Batman's theatricality is fucking bullshit when Bane shows up. It's cute.
Well, and the third movie also suffers from the biggest problem with Nolan's approach, which is, well, if you're going to ground it in reality, then this individual is going to be falling to pieces really quick. And so while that is...
Oh, yeah. I'll remind people of the book, Being Batman. It's a great book to read. Especially if you want to know how the human body falls apart, but it's all about what being Batman would actually do to somebody's body and how long you could maintain it. And I'm pretty sure that book said that someone could only really be Batman for 5 to 6 years before it just devastated their body.
Yeah, absolutely, of course. Yeah, and that's what the third movie is. So the problem is you have a Batman movie where Batman's barely in it for most of it.
Well, so, and that's the thing. When the Flash movie has Michael Keaton flying around, I'm like, okay, this is comic book Batman. We're good.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. So yeah, that's why I think the second one holds up so much better, is because it is the least concerned with the grounding of Batman. Yes, it's still grounded, but it is also saying, okay, let's just assume that this is Batman where there is no physical penalty, really. And the villains can be about as extreme as a realistic version can be. Because, I mean, the problem with Bane is, I mean, that concept falls apart so quickly. When you because
he's basically a luchador. He's a luchador with drugs.
Well, forget that. I mean, as soon as he came into the city and collapsed the what do you call it, the football field?
Yeah.
Okay, the mayor of Gotham is calling the president saying, rocket this guy with a plane. Just blow him up. He's not superhuman. Just blow him up.
Yeah.
So there's no way. I mean, that's what I'm saying is the first one, the drag is that we have to establish him. And this third one, the drag is, okay, this is, past it now.
Everyone wants to make Bane, right? Because Bane is one of the big villains in Batman. But the problem is, it's very hard to make Bane work out of the context of Batman. Because the whole thing is that Nightfall was essentially Bane realizing that he could very easily overload Batman by blowing up Arkham. And then waiting for Batman to run himself into the ground and then catching him right at the end and saying like, ha, there's no way you can beat me. You're exhausted, right? You can't.
And the problem is they did that in the first movie. The first Batman is when the fear gas is everywhere and basically everybody's free. So they used up the Bane.
There was just no supervillains. Yeah. Actually, I never realized that. You're right. They did use the Bane model for Nightfall.
Yeah, that's basically Nightfall. So... yeah, then Bane could...
so he did... Yeah, so Nolan kind of fucked himself on that.
Well, probably because...
See, you learn something new every day.
Deep down, I don't believe Nolan ever intended to do 3 movies. I don't think so.
Think he did either.
I think he intended the second movie to be the end. It's set up to be an ending of the idea of Batman as the myth, kind of the Dark Knight idea, where he's underground, where he's not in the light anymore. It's such a great way...
Yeah. Well, if that had been the end of it...
Yeah, if that had been the end of it, it would have been fine. Nobody would really complain. They'd say, wow, what a masterful way to end Batman.
Let's go back to Batman Returns with Michael Keaton, right? They only made the 2, and at the end of Batman Returns, you know that Michael Keaton is going to stay Batman for as long as he can.
Right.
You know that Catwoman is perhaps out there.
Yep.
And it's life is going to go on. Batman is Batman, and this is what's going to happen. And like it's kind of melancholy in that that Batman's alone, but at the same time, like it's left in the positive note that life goes on.
Yeah.
And there's no third one. I'm glad there's no third Tim Burton Batman.
Yes. That's what I mean. So I think that's honestly the only way within. I remember thinking this very soon after seeing the third one, which again I like Dark Knight Rises. I don't think it's a bad movie. I just think that the problem is the way to do that. I remember, and I don't think we ever talked about it on the show, but I had this thought because what occurred to me was the only way to do Bane well in the third movie, where it doesn't again fall apart under the least bit of scrutiny.
Yeah, and the thing though, so I do like Tom Hardy as Bane.
No, I love the character. Yeah. I think he's great. I have no problem.
I just wish they'd done different things with him in the movie.
I have no issues with the movie. The weakness is that, again, they used the Nightfall card up in the first one, which is great. That's the thing, is you could see it was very effective. It worked really well. It just worked in service of the Scarecrow and the fear gas as opposed to weakening Batman so Bane could get to him. That's the problem, is it just doesn't... The way to do Bane was to do Kraven's Last Hunt with him, where Bane's idea of supremacy was just to take Batman out of the equation and then not take over the city, but just basically be uncontested and run things. But the whole thing where he's, giving speeches and now he's taking over, that just, it gets weaker the longer it goes on, because you start to really think about it for a minute. You're like, wait, no. And then, I don't mind the sentimental ending. And then I don't like the bat plane. Yeah, the bat plane.
Oh, the
Yeah,
bat
it's like,
the bat hovercraft thing.
Yeah,
it's a bit much.
that's what I mean about once you get to a certain point in that movie, you're going, okay, it's probably about time we wrap this trilogy up. Huh, fellas? How about it?
I know, but that's
yeah.
but that's the problem, because the more comic booky Batman gets, the more Batman just becomes, I've got the bat jet. You know what I mean? Like it's international at that point.
Only because Nolan doesn't want it to be. Nolan is trying to keep it grounded. Whereas in Tim Burton's thing, it got more ridiculous and it got better.
Yeah,
outside of Danny DeVito, I just that was having him in dirty diapers or dirty pajamas the whole movie was not a good decision. It just was not. Really
I do like Tim Burton. I still like that he's around and he's doing his thing. I've been watching the Wednesday series with the kids, and
but he's only producing that. He's not.
No, he directed a few of them.
Yeah, but not the whole. He didn't do the whole series. That's what I'm saying. There was some restraint there.
But he had a lot of control over how it was made, and I like that they've essentially taken the Addams world and turned it into like Harry Potter, right? I think it's amusing how they did that because it actually really fits pretty well. While I find it very well done, I don't like his version of Gomez and Morticia Addams. I find it amusing. It works well with what they're doing with the story. It works well for the show. But I don't think I'm ever going to get over Raul Julia as Gomez.
Well, no, I mean,
or Angelica Houston.
No, the problem is they did the definitive version of that outside of the TV show.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the TV show versions are so different that it's fine. They coexist very well.
And it's good. It's good that they made them so different because, like you said, now they can coexist.
Right.
But it's just like, Raul Julia was so good.
I mean, they could have easily, and of course, there's a version of the universe where I wish this had happened, where they had the TV Gomez meet up with the other one as like father and son. That would have been so beautiful.
Oh man.
That would have been that, because they talk about their parents. If you had seen, I can't remember his name, John, what is
Oh, you mean from the original show?
Samwise. What is Samwise's name? What's that actor's name?
Sean Astin?
John Astin. John Astin is his dad. That's his dad. So you knew that, right? Yes, that's
like Gomez Addams is Sean Astin's dad?
Yeah, that's the same last name.
No, fuck. Hold on.
Yeah.
God, no, you're just throwing shit at me tonight.
Well, I thought you knew that. Yeah.
I did not.
Yes. 5 children, one of them being Sean Astin, who is...
No shit.
I mean, I think of him from Goonies, but yeah, Samwise. Yeah, that's his dad.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But imagine Raul Julia
awesome.
and John Astin as father and son Adamses. I mean, it's such a great idea that you sit there and go, how did we never get it? Because it's such a beautiful concept. And they would be fine because you would know they were related, yet they would be completely different. And yet the connection would be there. Oh yeah. No, I think that's the smartest thing is, and it really, when you think about that, it's amazing that they were able to make those characters distinctly the same, yet completely different. It's one of the rare times. Kind of what Heath Ledger did with the Joker, to be honest. Same thing.
It works. I mean, the different versions all work for what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same way, like, I don't like the new Fester Addams, but it works for the story.
Sure.
And it's just things like that. But shit, man, sorry, I'm still having a hard time getting over the fact that Gomez Addams is Samwise's dad.
Yeah.
That's just...
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, they don't really look alike, so it's one of those things where you sit there and go, wait, that can't be. And yes, it is. Yeah, it is. It's crazy, right?
It's funny. Yeah, and wasn't he the Riddler at one point?
John Astin?
Yeah.
No, you're thinking of oh god, what is that guy's? You're talking about like the Adam West Batman. Who was the Riddler? Frank Gorshin, I believe is the actor's name. Frank Gorshin, if I'm pronouncing.
Hold on. I am not wrong about this. Hold on.
Unless he was in the running to be it, but unless he did it on animated or something. That could
be. Frank Gorshin stepped away from his Riddler role in season 2, the only person that could fill his tights with the same menacing zaniness was John Astin.
Oh, really? Okay. See, I've never seen. I only watched maybe the first couple episodes of the John West.
I watched a lot of Adam West Batman when I was a kid.
I never did. That's fascinating. I didn't know that. Huh. I've
That's
never
why-
seen him as. Huh.
Yeah, look it up. Yeah.
I never saw him. Hold on, let me see what he looks like. I don't even know what that
It looks like Gomez Adams dressed up as the Riddler.
Wow. Yeah, I definitely never saw. Okay. Listen, not that I'm to say anything about anybody's physical appearance. I'm certainly not going to give the man any real static, but John Astin in the Riddler tights is a much different looking Riddler than Frank Gorshin, who was very wiry and is kind of what I associate with. I mean, he was a very skinny guy in many ways. John Astin was slightly more portly, is all I'm going to say. So that might be why I don't remember the John Astin one, because that doesn't look like the Riddler. That looks like a guy dressing up as the Riddler. Looks like a cosplayer.
Who was the original Joker for
Cesar Romero? He famously would not shave his mustache.
Yeah,
that's why it's white.
Yeah.
White paint. Yeah, which is just crazy.
But Cesar Romero, he also played hold on. There's a role that I always forget that he was. Am I wrong?
I don't know. You're probably not. You're
I'm
right
wrong.
about John Astin. So
No, I was wrong about that. Other roles that he did.
I can't believe the guy wouldn't shave his mustache for the Joker. That's just so crazy.
You know what though? It worked though. You know, as a kid, I didn't even give it a thought.
No. Well, of course, kids don't. But it's funny as an adult, you sit there and go, "Come on, man! You were on Batman. You could have shaved your mustache." But whatever. Hey, whatever.
When they brought Henry Cavill back for reshoots, and they contractually
now you wouldn't
let
have to
him-
worry about it. Yeah, I guess not. Yeah. Oh god.
They contractually wouldn't let him shave his mustache off.
Oh boy.
Oh, we live in a weird world. It's
Sure
very
do.
funny.
You ain't kidding.
Well, that concludes our intro. What do we have for the show, Joe?
Well, I have a review since I don't think we have much else. Obviously, since we've been talking for an hour, we have nothing as usual. I watched. Okay, as I said in my short review, this is a movie I selected based on the same criteria that I used to use when I was 14 and I went into a mom and pop video store. I saw a cool looking cover for a movie I'd never heard of, and I went, this might be good.
I'm going to watch.
Yes, so I decided to watch a film from 1989, an American-Peruvian science fiction film, as it turns out.
Oh,
called,
that sounds like it could be a good mix.
Yes, called Crime Zone. Now, if you look up Crime Zone, not only will you see a fantastically, what looks like mid-'80s, I mean, it's late 80s, so same time period, a fantastic cover, art-wise, but it has a wonderful tagline on it, which is "God is dead, hell still exists."
Is this David Carradine?
Yes, it is. Okay, well,
Oh,
sort of.
I think I may have seen this.
Have you seen this? Yes. Well,
I think I saw this when I was younger.
The belt fetishist is not based that much, but he is in it.
Based on the cover, yeah.
Yeah. So, and the other thing, once I actually started it up, I went, "Oh, Sherilyn Fenn is in this, who I like. She's in Twin Peaks." And I never really seen her in anything else, so I was kind of curious if she was going to be good in this. Which I will say, she and David Carradine are in a different movie than everybody else. This is one of those kind of things where their acting is so much better than everybody else's is. And David Carradine, for this time period, he is sober as far as I can tell. He is not a falling down drunk at this point. He's speaking very clearly and seems to actually be acting, which was not always the case for a while in the 80s and 90s. You can watch him in movies where he is clearly being propped up by hopes and dreams of the cast and not much else.
God.
So, I'm not kidding. You can watch some fun stuff. Go watch, Future Zone, I think. And then, I don't remember what the other one was, where he's got the robot hand that he basically barely uses. But anyway, this is a post-apocalyptic dystopian film. In terms of the narrative, really nothing in here that, if you watch a lot of science fiction, that will surprise you at all. The narrative is right out of a million other things you've seen, straightforward A to B. However, for a movie of this type, it looks a lot better than it should. It is actually filmed in terms of the actual look of the movie. It's got some really nice camera work. They took advantage of what I assume is...
No, it looks quite well done. I mean, it doesn't look grainy. It looks very clean.
It's actually, visually, it's much better than you would expect. The basic story is that it's really Aeon Flux. Honestly, I thought when I got to the end, I went, "Oh, this is Aeon Flux." So there are two states that are at war. So I guess it's 1984 as well in that way. You don't really know where it's supposed to be. They never specify if there's even countries anymore or whatever. It's never clear. All you ever hear about is the two countries or states of Soleil and what's the other one? Freyden, I think it's called. Hold on. Freyden. Where's the damn name of the other place? Yeah, Frodan. Sorry, Frodan. So it's
Frodan.
It's Soleil and Frodo. So in Soleil and Frodo are the two states that are at war, and in Soleil, which is where most of the movie takes place, there is a caste system where people are assigned tiers, and so just like any type of class system, the people at the bottom.
Dude, my brain completely read that wrong. You said they were assigned tiers, and my brain was just like,
what, like
they're giving them like crying. I was like, they're giving them like teardrops. It's like, what kind of movie is this? Because I don't remember it at all. And then I was like, "Nah, you fucking idiot. He's talking about a class system."
Yeah. So anyway, in the tiered class system, as you would expect, people at the bottom are in poverty and live in the worst places, in the crime zone of the title or in a plague zone. There's different zones.
Yeah, shit rolls downhill. Yep.
Right. Although the movie doesn't really seem to know which numbering system it wants to use, because at times being a 1 seems to be the worst. And then depending on what the dialogue is, 1 might be the best. So I'm not sure the continuity person was on top of this one, but it really doesn't matter. We start off the movie and we are introduced to an individual named Bone, B-O-N-E, great name for a character, who is a security guard at a cryogenics facility where the rich get to basically extend their lives in between walking around and lording over everybody else, apparently. I'm not really clear on what the cryogenics system does. Although by the end of the movie, we're basically shown that it's all a sham anyway, so who cares? But even the prospect of it doesn't make much sense. I don't know why you would go into a cryonic stasis if you're rich and you have all the power in the society. Why would you want to delay that? You would just live it up, and then, if you were old and or diseased, it might make sense. But that's not what they indicate. They just indicate that randomly the rich just decide to go to sleep for a while and stay the same age, which I don't get. But whatever. Bone works at this facility, gets fired because he doesn't have any respect for the rich, and he is part of, so he's on the lower tier system, and in this society, you can go to strip shows and, see strippers, and you can have limited conjugal visits, and you are forbidden from reproducing if you are of a lower caste. So basically, they don't want the poor to breed. They want to make sure only the rich are reproducing. So when he goes to one of these strip shows, he runs across Sherilyn Fenn, who is playing a prostitute named Helen, and immediately falls for her, love at first sight type of thing. And so he shows up, and we get a nice explanation. There's actually good, I will say, this is a showcase, I think, and I'll get your opinion on this, but I think there's actually good dialogue in this, too. There's good writing, even though the story itself is very stock standard, boilerplate stuff. The writing and the acting is not bad, and there's actually some good dialogue. So this is our introduction to Bone and Helen when he goes to visit her.
So what am I, some fourth-tier bitch slumming in the dead-end zone? A lady policeman? How about a cutthroat raider from Frodan? Choose your fantasy.
How about a simple conversation?
So you decided to see me after all?
We never finished our game.
So we're gonna finish it here, right? Sorry, I don't have a table.
Too bad, I've got the balls.
No, just stand there. Let's put them to use.
Like I said, I just want to talk.
About what?
Anything you want. Why you're so miserable, for instance.
Who says I'm miserable?
Everything about you says it, and I know the reason why.
Yeah?
Yeah. You hate your job, and it makes you hate everything around you.
Including you.
No, not me. You haven't made up your mind about me yet.
The decision isn't that far away.
Well, let me help you make it, and a few others besides. Quit this place.
Right, I'm supposed to just throw away the one chance I've got.
Chance for what? Second tier? You have to kiss ass to get second tier, and you refuse to kiss ass.
You're wrong. I kiss ass 10 times a day and a lot worse.
And it gets you nothing. That's what I've been learning. That's what you're going to learn.
The state put me here. Those are the rules.
Then break the rules. I want to know you, Helen. Not this room, not these costumes, or this 15-minute time limit. I want to know you.
So they fall in love
Okay,
because...
hold on.
Yes.
This dialogue does not, it shouldn't be where it is. This sounds like dialogue from a much headier movie.
Well, that's what I'm saying is
Like,
it's, yes.
You know,
it's,
I was listening to it, and it almost sounded like it was coming, like, it sounded familiar. The writing sounded familiar. The dialogue, like, I'm trying to figure out if I've seen another movie by this writer that actually
there's a
nailed it.
Screenplay, but I don't know who the...
Like,
let's
like,
see, hold on. Let me look.
I'm trying to, like...
Who's the writer? Daryl Haney.
Yeah,
Haney wrote...
I looked her up, but it doesn't seem like she's got much...
No, I don't... Nothing here really... Lady Chatterley.
I know.
Okay. Extra 3. Holy crap. Extra 3? Oh, this person wrote a lot of Emmanuel movies. Let's...
I know, but,
Friday the 13th,
nothing...
A New Blood. Yeah, nothing.
But nothing high end. Like, this
well,
is very...
Listen.
No,
It's
I know,
not...
but that... I know, but that dialogue is, like, better than a B-movie dialogue.
Well, let's just say that it's always possible somebody was cribbing a better story. So who knows? Who knows? But this is what I'm saying is there's actually that's what I'm saying is
because I mean, if you played that for me,
you know,
if you played that dialogue for me, right, I would think that was actually not a bad movie.
Right. Well, I will be clear. It's not a bad movie. It's better than it should be.
Got it.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm about to play you. I'm about to play you a clip.
You're going to balance it out now for me.
Oh,
okay.
So basically they decide to try to, you know, they're going to live together in secret sin, you know, kind of because you're not supposed to be in love and to have other people. I don't think you're supposed to even have relationships from what I can tell. So they're doing this covert relationship. And so there's a point where they're walking along in the street and they run across the state police, the military police, whatever, who start accosting them and suspect them of sleeping together. And, you know, they deny it, but, you know, then they leave and the cops are suspicious. So they go back to Bone's apartment. Ironically, I guess to Bone later. So that's his character's name. This is what I'm saying. So there's ups and downs. Yes, I know. Oh, wait, just wait. And at which point the power cuts out and Helen seems to think it's just because they periodically lose power. But Bone is suspicious that maybe they were followed. So he hides her. At which point a female officer busts the door in, walks in, and basically says, I suspect that woman is here. Now, before I play this, I have to set this up properly. I play this for my wife as well because she had to hear this or had to see the scene. This actor, she is playing this dialogue completely straight. So I think that the reason that this is going to
straight, and that's why, and it's absurd, isn't it?
Well, part of it is literally the dialogue, which you'll hear in a minute. And the other is the accent, which is not this person's fault. So I don't want to be like making fun of somebody's accent, but the accent accentuates.
But that's exactly what we're going to do. Okay.
Well, it amplifies what is already dialogue that is, I will never get rid of this clip. Okay. And she's about to try to demand proof that there is a woman in the apartment. I'm just going to play this with no further comment.
I bet that woman is here. I'm sure you're still horny, subgrade. Show me your dick. Come on, show me your dick.
Okay. Okay. No. I know what you're hearing. So apparently many of the extras for this movie came from the Peruvian film school, I think acting school, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, what you're hearing is someone with very little practice trying to assume not a Spanish accent.
Right, and probably, and for all I know,
Yeah.
this is why I want to be very
And
careful
the
about
second,
my laughter.
because the second she starts yelling, "Show me your dick," I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh man!" It's like, yeah, I can. This is somebody desperately trying to not be Spanish.
And possibly
They
doesn't understand what they're saying. Maybe it may have been phonetically told
man.
what to say. I don't know.
That'd be terrible if it was phonetic.
It happens a lot. So I'm not trying to make fun of the accent. It's the dialogue, even if it was said by somebody with perfect enunciation.
I
it would
know
not be
it's
funny.
it's giving that person that dialogue.
It's enhancing what is already comedic. After we just heard dialogue that, as you said, sounds
It's very
much
good.
higher.
Yeah.
And then within 4 minutes of that scene, I would say, you get "Show me your dick." Come on, show me your dick.
Show me your dick.
I was crying when this thing played. I had to stop the movie, and my stomach was killing me. I was laughing because I didn't. Where do you expect this after you just got this scene where the guy's like, "No, I just want to know you. I want us to be.
I want to know
Show
you.
me your dick.
I want to know
fact,
what you really are."
I didn't capture the audio, but later Sherilyn Fenn makes fun of that dialogue. She repeats it as a joke where she's holding like a toy gun on him. So even the movie acknowledges later. Maybe they knew, and so they filmed that scene like, we have to make fun of this.
Oh, man.
Whatever. Oh, God. It's that.
Show
like I said,
me your dick.
That you know what? Everybody, wait, can I just zoom to that part? Yeah. Let's just play it one more time for everybody. Here we go. Enjoy.
Come on, show me your dick.
I mean, why would you not keep that clip forever? Oh,
Honestly, it's a multifaceted line. I'll give you that.
God. I mean, it's just.
I mean, you can use it in good ways. You can use it in bad ways.
Show me your dick. It would almost be the show title, except, I try to keep them work safe. Okay. Which is good. And again, the next clip I'm going to play is this is what I'm saying, is the rest of it is good. That's just such a standout. I mean, in fact, one of the reviews actually, I think, just says, "Show me your dick," all in caps. But anyway.
Dun, 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 dun. Show me your dick.
Right. So anyway, they get into a relationship together, and they're out in public at times. So obviously their visibility is not the biggest deal in the world, but they are, they basically have no money, and they both are basically out of jobs now because they both quit. And so they rob a supermarket for a small amount of money. And when they do it, you see David Carradine is watching them and, observing them. Meets up with them and makes them an offer to try to get them
Is he
out
going to show him
of.
his dick?
No, he's not going to show him his. No, not that kind of offer. No, he shows them his belt and says, "I assume you know what to do with this." But no, he basically comes to them with an offer that will get them out of Soleil. I'm going to play the clip right now. Sorry, I should have said that. Here it comes.
Tell me, what do you see?
A hospital.
That's what I see too. That's what everybody sees. But that's not what it is. There are no sick people in that building. Only records.
What do you mean?
Official records. Highly sensitive material. And something I want, but I can't get. Your job will be to get it for me.
Isn't that called robbery?
That's right. That's exactly what it's called. And the thing I'll give you in return is called money.
And the thing you want us to get, what's that called?
A disc. A tiny little disc with lots of valuable information on it.
Show me your disc. No, but so basically he gets them to break into this.
He sounds wasted.
No, he's got a cigar in his mouth. So
Okay,
no.
well, I'm just
when
saying,
you hear him
he,
later,
like-
when you hear him later, he sounds crystal clear. He's got a cigar.
Okay.
Which I don't know why they let him talk with the cigar. I mean, maybe it's supposed to be more or natural, but it doesn't sound good. But in any event, Bone is immediately suspicious, does not like this offer, does not like Carradine's character, but understands that they basically have no options. They're going to be stealing anyway, so why not steal from somebody who's promising them a large reward? And Helen is more eager because she just wants the money to try to get out. She just wants to try to at one point, I think she says, how much of a life are we going to have? Let's be able to enjoy it as much as possible. So Bone, though, is never on board with what's going on here. So they pull off the robbery, and he is correct. It is a front. It is actually not a hospital. There are no sick people. They steal the records. They get out. They go back to Jason, deliver it. He gives them the money, and then basically says, well, you could buy your way out of Soleil, or I can help you get out of here. So do you want to maybe do another job for me? And Bone is kind of like, no, let's not do it. But Helen, he reluctantly agrees. Helen seems more eager. So they go ahead and they then rob a bank, and the bank robbery goes bad. And so they become basically the criminal public enemies #1. And so they go back to Jason, who's Carradine's character. And he's like, well, I need you to do one more thing for me, and then I'll get you out. Now, of course, at this point, they're both okay, no, he's just fucking with us now. We're not going to ever get out. He's stringing us along. I mean, he did give them money, but this idea that he's going to get them out is not going to happen, right? So they basically go on the run, and they end up in the plague zone, which is a place where, they've been told that everybody is sick because Frodan bombed the city or the state, I guess. They never really specify, but I'll say state because that's what everything else refers to it as. So they bombed the state, and they basically destroyed this area, and so you have to be very careful. You'll get sick. You can't stay there for long. And they get basically cornered by Jason and the cops, and they realize that Jason is working with the police. They manage to get the drop on him and basically say, okay, you're obviously working with Soleil, so why were you pretending that you weren't? And then we get the first explanation of what's going on from Carradine's character, which is this.
Hello, Bone. Helen. I can see you two have decided to change plans.
Get into the room. Come on. So you're one of them, aren't you?
Well, not really, Bone. It's just my job, that's all.
Go on. We're listening.
I'm a recruiting officer.
Recruiting what?
Criminals.
All right, cut the horse shit. Let's hear it.
There are no criminals in Soleil, Bone. And I mean there aren't any at all. Except the ones that I recruit. You're just my latest models, that's all. Once upon a time, Soleil really was a crime zone. But that's all over now. The police got so powerful that they just wiped out crime completely. If you don't have criminals, you have to invent them. And I gotta say, you guys are doing a remarkable job.
Oh, fuck you, Jason!
Right, so what we've found out is that, in fact, there really is no crime, that what he does is he creates criminals.
It sounds like a cyberpunk dystopian storyline.
And that's what it is. But I'm saying is, it's. I'm not saying it's bad. All I was saying was the narrative is very familiar. Like the beats of this thing are very, very familiar to anybody who's read a lot of this stuff. It's not bad. It's just not doing anything, I think, particularly new if you've seen a lot of these movies. But it's certainly not bad. And like I said, the dialogue is good at times. The visuals are good and everything else. So essentially after this, they manage to escape, and they know somebody who is a helicopter pilot. So they get the idea that, okay, if we can break into a military facility and get a helicopter, then this guy, who is clearly the whole time is on their side, this is not a double cross type of thing, then he will bring us out. He's an older guy, and he remembers, back when it wasn't like this, and he wants to go to Frodam where everybody's free. And he's like, well, if we can get you a chopper, can you fly us out? And he's like, yes, we can get out if you can get the chopper. So they break into the facility, and they manage to get a chopper. There's a lot of stuff that happens in between, but I'm just skimming over it because it's, basically events happen in between. It's not like they just walk in and get it. There's things that go on. But they manage to actually get to the facility. They get the chopper, and they manage to get out. And so they escape, and they fly with the chopper and eventually arrive in Frodan. They radio there, and they're given clearance to land. They land, they get out of the chopper, and they're ecstatic. And they look around, and they start to realize that everything is bombed out. There are skeletons everywhere. All the aircraft on the place that they landed looks like it's been dead for years. Like everything is wiped out. It looks like
it is destroyed.
So it's a wasteland. And so they're wandering around. They're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And they come to a hangar. And inside the hangar is our buddy David Carradine, who shoots the pilot and then shoots the woman officer who's with them. And so Helen and Bone and Jason are staying there. And they're like, what the fuck are you doing? And we get the actual explanation of what's really going on, which is this.
Thank you, Bone.
For what?
For killing my colleague here. That's what I'm going to say when I get back to Soleil. That Helen and Bone have killed yet another policeman. You know, I really did want you to escape. I was sincere about that. I really admire the two of you. Really, I do. But if I told you the entire truth, you just would have given up. It's all right here. Remember this? Everything's on it. How Soleil destroyed Froden maybe 20 years ago. Tells all about the radiation. Or I guess I should call it the plague, shouldn't I? Funny thing about radiation, it just won't stay where you put it. One little gust of wind, and you've got yourself a serious health problem.
I don't believe it.
You can believe it. Soleil would completely fall apart without its crime, its war. Too much depends on it. The army, the police, the entire economy.
And your personal economy.
Well, yes, for the moment. But I don't know how much longer that's going to last. I know too much. I could end up being criminal of the month myself. Which is exactly what this little thing is designed to prevent. So I'll tell you what I'm going to say when I get back. We landed in Frodon. There was a nasty gun battle in which you killed my colleague here. And then somehow you got away. I'm also going to tell him this, that you're much more valuable to us alive. After all, there's always the threat that Helen and Bone might come back. And that's the best reason I can possibly think of for that inflated military budget. Don't you agree? Well, you're on your own, kids.
And then you see the movie
music
ends.
kicks in.
The movie kicks in. The music kicks in. He leaves, and you see the two of them kind of walking along what looks like the ocean, and then the credits roll. So you really don't know.
Oh, so they're left to die of radiation?
No, the radiation moved. That's what he said. So the plague zone
Oh, so
that they
it's not
said
there anymore.
Yeah, so in Soleil, where the plague zone was, that's where the radiation ended up, and that's why that's the place where you can't stay there longer, you get sick. They said it was because of a sickness. What it was, in fact, was the radiation, but they couldn't say that because then they'd have to concede that they'd won the war. And they need the war to keep going because then everybody thinks that they need the army. So, no, the plague zone, so the radiation is gone.
Honestly, it almost feels like a Philip K. Dick story.
And yeah, well, that's what I'm saying is the elements of this are clearly from classics of science fiction, like all that stuff. That's what I mean about the narrative. I'm not saying it's bad, but you can kind of see what's going on. You can, if you've read a lot of these books, you'll guess at the ending. Like I as soon as they landed and they saw that there was a buy, I'm like, oh, okay, then this is again, the war is over. This is 1984, where there's a never-ending war, but you're not really sure if there is a war or that it's already over with. And so this is all to perpetuate the government to be able to keep funding the military and everything else. And so, like it's a good movie. It's just that, again, the narrative isn't inventing anything new. I jumped over, there's a character that is, I don't know whether it's just that the guy's a bad actor or that they made him play it really weird, but there's one character who is so obviously going to be the kind of betray his friend type that you're just waiting for it. And of course it happens because, he's got like an inferiority complex and he, at one point tries to stop them and they basically let him get killed by the police, because he's a patsy.
It's heavy. It's heavy-handed.
I mean, heavy-handed, or it's just not well written. It's just that the character is not, I think the performance destroys any possibility that you wouldn't know where it's going. This character is so jealous right away of the fact that Bone has a plan to get out that you know that he's not going to be able to handle them leaving. So, yeah, but this is little things. I mean, it's still a low budget film. This is not some kind of movie that was secretly made and forgotten about, but was, a $50 million picture. It's a Roger Corman picture that I think Carradine is an executive producer on. So, I mean, they probably made it as sort of a vanity project for him. And, I think it was a fun movie. I'm glad I watched it. Will I watch it again? Probably not. It's probably a one and done. But,
no, that's probably one of those ones that if we still had cable TV, it would come on at 3:00 in the morning, and you'd go, you know what?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll leave it on.
Yeah, it was worth watching once. It gave me one of the best clips that I'll constantly reuse for who knows how long in the show's history.
Come on, play it again.
Come on, show me your dick.
Exactly. Right? So just for that.
You know what I want you. I want that to be your Rickroll from now on. Honestly, that would be the best. I want you to be like, okay, I'm gonna play a clip now from this movie, and then just show me your dick.
And then it'll just be,
Come on, show me your dick.
Just every now and then, just to keep us on our toes. It's the dick roll.
Yeah, okay. We're gonna do our shield segment. Let me remind everybody where they can go to support the show.
Come on, show me your dick.
Yeah.
Children.
So
We're a bunch of children.
I said, we are, and so if nothing else, the fact that clip was delivered completely unknown, since I didn't know anything about the movie, I had no setup for that happening, and to be right after a very serious scene that, as you said, the dialogue feels like it's more elevated than the material would lead you to think, and then to go right to "show me your dick" after that is just, it's almost Mel Brooks type of comedic setup and payoff, but it isn't. It's like I said, it's being played straightforward, and the idea of it is, I get it. I think she's supposed to be, do you have an erection? Because I didn't let the clip go because that's such a great. She says right after that.
That makes no fucking sense. Because you get erections for fucking everything these days.
I know, but she says right after that. I cut it off because you can't go anywhere better than after "show me your dick" being screamed. She then says when he unzips his fly, "Is that your normal size?" And he says yes, and then she leaves. So I didn't clip that, but that's, I guess, what the idea of it. But you're right; it makes no sense. Is
that your normal size? No, normally it's much bigger.
Right. I mean, that's what my responsibility was like. No, you scared me, and when I get scared, I shrink. So no. This is a third of the normal size. Are you kidding? Normally it looks like one of those things, those water sausages that you squeeze. But imagine it 4 times the size. So yeah, Crime Zone is. I didn't look to see where I watched it on YouTube at a very good quality, but I believe it's. Oh, yeah, you can watch it with, okay, if you want to watch it without ads, it's on YouTube in its entirety in like 4 different channels because nobody cares. It is also on Tubi and Freevee with ads. But honestly, the quality that I watched on YouTube was really good. So watch it wherever you want is the long and short of it. But I would say if you're into these kind of movies, it is worth watching once. I'm not going to tell you that it's some kind of secret gem. I'm not going to buy it. I don't need to own it. But I'm glad I watched it, if for no other reason than for "show me your dick." But I also do think that it works as a low-budget version of a dystopian, like you said, a cyberpunk film. It's filmed almost entirely at night. I think except for Frodan, it is all at night, I'm pretty sure, now that I think about it. There's a lot of really good use of smoke machines, good lighting. They take advantage of some really interesting locations. There's one tunnel sequence where I don't know what the building could have been, but it's this really weird, it looks like, again, there's times where it looks like Aeon Flux. I kept thinking of Aeon Flux. And there is a lot of that in here. So I would say it's worth watching. Like I said, for some people, it might be something you'd want to pick up and actually revisit as part of a kind of a low-budget sci-fi block or something like that. But it's definitely worth watching once, especially because you can watch it for free. And, yeah, it's a fun movie. It's not a great movie, but it's also not... I mean, when I go into something that I've never heard of with David Carradine, I really don't know what I'm going to get. So I was pleasantly surprised that it wasn't, I'm not going to say he wasn't drinking on the production, right? I don't know. I wasn't there, but
I'm not going to go out on a limb, but
I'm not going to guarantee that he was sober the whole time, but I have seen him in movies where he is far worse, where he is visibly running on fumes. And this is not this. They're you heard the dialogue. You can hear when he's got the cigar, but he's certainly not terrible. And the guy playing Bone is all right. I didn't know him from anything. I looked up his credits. I didn't recognize the name. He somewhat looked vaguely familiar, but I think he's one of those guys who just looks like guys.
He seems to have like kind of one volume where he's just like angry yelling. So
yeah, and it is mostly that through the movie. So maybe that's why I don't really know him for anything else. Sherilyn Fenn is good. She's playing her character very well. So like I said, fun movie. But if you had to pay $20 for it, I'd say, you better be sure. But as it is, as a movie you can watch either on YouTube for free or through a couple of different services with ads. Again, if you like these kinds of movies, it is a better than you would expect entry.
Is this a good double feature with Cyborg? Not Cyborg, Nemesis.
Ooh, yeah, do Nemesis second. Because there's the action sequences in Nemesis are way better than anything in this. This is
honestly, would you go Crime Zone, Nemesis, Cyborg?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would.
You end it. Oh, then you end it with Cyborg 2. Ooh.
Well, no. If we're talking about those 4 movies, I would do Crime Zone, the 2 Cyborgs, and then Nemesis. Nemesis would always be the strong finisher. Nemesis is better than Cyborg.
Well, there you go. You have a fun, like kind of low budget sci-fi cyberpunk dystopian movie block
but
to watch.
Cyborg 2 is actually a pretty good analog for this because Cyborg 2, what a lot of people know is, that's the one that Angelina Jolie is in. And in this one, the reason
when Jack Palance pops out as like Robot Man, I mean,
okay, but that's a good analog for this because you have David Carradine as the scummy, guy who actually doesn't turn out to be as scummy as you think. And then Sherilyn Fenn is the equivalent for Angelina Jolie, where it's like, oh, okay, I know her. And, is she actually any good in this? Because this is not a movie I ever knew she was in. It was just an accident. So, yeah, so this is about on par with Cyborg 2. Cyborg 2 probably had more money than this, so I think it's a little bit better looking. But they're pretty close. So that would actually be a good kind of, if you want a double feature in terms of quality, this and Cyborg 2 are fairly close together, whereas Nemesis and the first Cyborg are a definite step up from those 2 movies. So that's the best way to think of it. But yes, that's a good 4-movie feature. Crime Zone, Cyborg 2, Nemesis. That's how I would rank, because I think Nemesis is the best out of all those 4. So yeah, that's a good way to bring it up. So there's if you want to have your weekend of sci-fi fun, that's not a bad 4-movie set. I could actually see that working very, very well. And that's all I have for you. I'm sorry I can't beat Show Me Your Dick this week. And is
that going to be your closing line from now on? I'm sorry. I just can't beat Show Me Your Dick this week.
I mean, it's going to be, can I beat?
Come on, show me your dick.
I don't know that I can. I don't know that I can beat that.
What's that? Man, what's that movie? Oh, it's a soundbite from a movie that is in there where it's a woman and she's saying like, what did you do with his head or something like that?
Oh yeah, what is that?
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean. Yeah,
or the equivalent of Mortal Kombat, Annihilation or whatever, where she's like, you will die. I mean, there's lots of look. And that actress, because it kind of lines up here, that actress I believe is a French actress, and I haven't seen her in a lot of English stuff. So she's a very heavy accent. So it may be just a case where, again, I'm not trying to make fun of this person for their accent necessarily. It's just amplifying the line.
It's the delivery of the ridiculous line.
Yes.
It's like something out of a Will Ferrell movie that somebody delivered straight.
Yeah, Kenneth Branagh couldn't have delivered this line with anything less than comedic timing, even if he'd been trying his Hamlet hardest. So this woman had no chance, other than to have it come out sounding like what it does.
Come on, show me your dick.
I mean, and it never stops being funny.
You're going to burn that into my mind. It's going to be playing in the back of my head.
I hope you dream about it tonight with your perfect
wake
recall.
Up and all I'm going to hear is, show me your dick.
Show me your dick. Yeah. What a stupid way to end the show. But I have nothing else because I knew I couldn't review anything else at that point. There was just no way to get away from that. That was just going to be the black hole of the whole show. It's like once you hear that, it just. I mean, I've played it 7. I'm not going to play it again. I promise. I'm not. But I have to have played it now at least 6 times. I'm not going to play it anymore. So, On that note, if for no other reason than to see that scene in its full glory, I would recommend Crime Zone. And yes, that 4-movie double feature, if anybody watches that, tell us how it worked out, because I think that would actually be a really good set of movies to watch in that order. And on that note, I don't know if I will have any clip anywhere near as good as that in any show that ever follows this one. And that's okay, because we're at 890 now. So if that's how late we're coming into such a wonderful clip, I have no problems with it. It's not like we blew it out all on the 5th show. But we'll see. We'll see what we can do for the next show. But until then, I'm not going to say it. It's right there, but I'm not going to do it, and I'm not going to play it. In whatever way you want, enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week. Visit OzoneNightmare.com to subscribe to new episodes, browse through our back catalog, or to find links to support the show. Follow @OzoneNightmare on Twitter for the latest episode postings and other show information. If 280 characters just isn't enough, you can always email us, theozonenightmare@gmail.com. The opening theme for the show is provided by Heartbeat Hero. The closing theme is provided by Ogre. Please visit and support these artists using the links in the show notes for each episode.